Reading is one of language skill other than listening, speaking, and writing given to students of English Education Department. Reading is boring for students. Of course, because reading texts are generally used in semester exams and national exams. High school students need to improve their reading skills. Therefore, teachers need to choose strategies that can improve students' ability to understand the text they read. PORPE is a strategy that can be used to improve students' ability to understand the ideas implied or expressed in the text they read. And PORPE is a study to assist students in learning content material. Help students in the process constructing the meaning, build knowledge. Students more active in learning this process automatically train students more creative to understand reading material. There are several steps in teaching PORPE strategy. So in here, I would like to explain the predict one. Alright, Cook and Mayer in Simpson 2008 154 would describe these predict steps of PORPE as involving the encoding process of selection because it asks the learner to pay attention to the important pieces of information in the passage. When students are asked to predict possibly a side question on the material they have read, they are involved in clarifying the purposes of their subsequent study. Students are also stimulated to process the text actively as they read to master to the content and organization by posing several general or higher order essay questions that ask for the synthesis and discussion, a comparison and contrast, or an evaluation of the concept from a unit of study. In predict steps, students use words such as discuss, explain, criticize, compare, and contrast. Students also need to generate chapter summarize, chapters questions, bold-face heading, and the chapter organization, lecture and discussion ideas, especially when they overlap with the chapter being studied, and study guide or hints by the teacher.
Okay, next, to organize. The second step of PORPE is organize. Involve students in constructing the information that will answer the self-predictive essay question. In constructing, students build internal connection among ideas so that information becomes reorganized into a coherent structure. For each predictive essay question, students organize their answer in their own words or formalize them in a map or chart. 3. Rehearse. The third step of PORPE is rehearse. Engage students in the active recitation and self-testing of the key ideas recorded in their map or charts. In a sense, students are probably answering their self-predictive essay question so that the key ideas can become transferred to working memory. This active rehearsal in PORPE characterizes what effective learners, described by Becker and Brown 2004, must do monitor self-question and take corrective action when necessary. Okay, next, practice. The fourth step of PORPE is practice. Involve students in creating from memory their own text which answer their self-predictive essay question. This practice step is an integrative encoding process in that during the act of reading, students are building connection between their existing knowledge and schemata and the key ideas from the passage. Practice is the validation step of learning because students must write from recall the answer to their self-predictive essay question in some public and observable form.
Okay, the last step of strategy PORPE, namely evaluate. requires students to use their writing in order to validate whether they have created a meaningful text which demonstrates their understanding of the content and to evaluate their text as another reader might, and then to facilitate this monitoring and evaluating. Students are provided a checklist and are asked to read their essay with these 6 questions in mind. The first question: did I answer the question directly? 2. Did my essay have an introductory sentence which restated the essay question or took possession of the question? 3. Was my essay organized with major points or ideas which were made obvious to the reader? 4. Did my essay include relevant details or examples to prove and clarify each point? 5. Did I use transition to cue the reader? And the last question, did my essay make sense and show my knowledge of the content? Okay, the next, there are advantages of PORPE: predict, organize, rehearse, practice, and evaluate. Advantages PORPE, namely, the first, to increase understanding of the topic being discussed. 2. Improve the ability to think and be able to solve a problem. 3. Can improve student understanding. 4. Get teaching through hypothetical strategy. 5. Able to prompt something in collaborative work and learning in skill. And the last, using metaphors to connect areas of knowledge and the content, subject, or essence of what is being studied.
Hello everyone, here I will explain the disadvantages of PORPE strategy. Average and below average students, especially from rural background, find difficulty to understand the things taught by this strategy. The first one, this is an expensive strategy as the teacher is to use some aids for teaching. The second one, for this strategy, competent teachers must be there, but there is the dearth of good English teachers in the country. And the third one, in the early stage of learning, this strategy is good, but the teachers must be able to modify it for the benefit of whole class.